welcome you this morning to this conference organised by the Trade Unionist and Socialist Coalition, which is designed to discuss our plans on May the 22nd, 2014. But a little later today, Ed Miliband is due to make a speech based on a report done by the former General Secretary of the Labour Party, Lord Collins, which was released just before Christmas, and which is to be debated 4 weeks today, on the 1st of March, whereby he intends to make further changes to the Labour Party constitution, which will be designed to further water down the organised influence of the trade union movement inside the Labour Party. These proposals, as many of you, if not all of you, will be aware, arose after the disgraceful actions of Ed Miliband and the Labour Party to set the police on to unite the union at the oil refinery in Grangemouth because they had the temerity to recruit new members to the Labour Party. When I was a member of the Labour Party 30 years ago, they gave out badges for recruiting 80 members to the Labour Party. Today, they coerce and they collaborate with employers so that Stevie Deans, the Unite convener at Grangemouth, the chair of Unite Scotland, the chair of the Falkirk West Constituency Labour Party, who recruited 80 fellow workmates to the Labour Party, was grassed up to the employer and lost his job because he's sacked. That's how far Labour has travelled in 113 years since we were first founded in this city. And in 4 weeks' time, Ed Miliband will take 120 minutes to dispense with 113 years of history by diluting the influence of the trade union movement. Now, it's not just those organisational changes. Labour intends to go into the next election as the party of competition. Rachel Reeves has said that they will be tougher than the Tories on benefit claimants. Chuka Umunga has said there's now a special fast-track stream for business leaders to join immediately as candidates for Parliament and for councils. The morning's theme that we've got with the speakers we're about to hear now is about that vacuum that's been created politically by Labour's rapid move to the right, the overlapping agenda with the other main establishment parties that they have adopted that I spoke of before. The fact that they offer no challenge to the continued mass unemployment of millions of people within our society, or the insecurity of low-paid work which affects those who do have a job. The frozen wages, the deteriorating pensions, particularly but not exclusively within the public sector, and the loss of essential local services. How to address what Bob Crow has often referred to as the crisis of political representation for the working class is what we intend to open this morning's conference with. As I say, we have 4 speakers for you today. And firstly, and I will introduce more fully each as they come, but just to let you know that the speakers that we have are all National Executive Committee members from the RMT, from the UCU, from the Prison Officers Association, POA, and the PCS itself. And firstly, I'd like you to welcome the official representative of the Council of Executives of the RMT, the Transport Union in Britain, Mike Sargent.
Thank you very much, brothers and sisters. My name is Mike Sargent. I represent the RMT, the Rail Maritime and Transport Union, across the South East on the RMT Executive. And I'm very pleased and proud to be here to represent my trade union today.
I'm here today at the TUSC Candidates Conference. I feel it's time that we stood up as part of this TUSC group. And in the words of a recently deceased political activist and musician, Pete Seeger, this land is my land, this land is your land, this land is our land, and it's time we stood up and fought for it.
You know, my trade union's got previous form for this kind of thing. Over 100 years ago, we were at the initial formation of the Labour Party, which we set up in those days in the hope that they were going to represent workers in industry and do the best they could for workers in the workplace. So we've got previous form for this kind of thing, because here we are today, over 100 years later, looking at the same kind of exercise. the people we're trying to turn over is the party we set up, the Labour Party. And if they are not prepared to be accountable to the workers that generally pay for them to exist, then we need to turn them over as well. You know, I read in the paper the other day that while all this austerity is going on and how we're all in it together, the wealth of the top 1% in this country has increased by 13% in the last few years. But how's that fair? How are we all in it together there? One of the things that drives me mad these days is I keep seeing these posters everywhere that say, keep calm and carry on. Well, I'm not calm, I'm bloody angry. And I see this as an instruction from the higher-ups, as if we're in a war zone or something. You know, there's a foreign power coming to attack us at any second. Well, it's not a foreign power, it's our power, and they are attacking us now. And as for carry on, I'm not prepared to carry on like this any longer. I'm not prepared to keep calm and carry on. I want to do something about it. I want to work with you. Now, my General Secretary, some of you may have heard of, a chap by the name of Bob Crow, he would have been here today, but unfortunately couldn't come. But he would tell you, as he's told us many times before, it's over with Labour. They are Labour in name only. It's over with them. They do nothing for us. They've even kicked us out, my union's been kicked out of the Labour Party because we dared to support socialism in Scotland. Good God, what a heinous crime. The men who led us after the Second World War to a socialist government were giants compared to the men we have today. Men like Anaya and Bevan, who has helped establish the health service, were absolute giants compared to this lot we have today. And we stand on the shoulders of those giants, but all we can see at the moment is this glimmer of hope that it's a trade union and socialist coalition. Now, people keep saying to me, oh, it's only a small thing, it will never last, but it's been around for a few years now, the TUSC movement. And I was lucky enough a few years ago to be sent to Venezuela by my trade union to see what was going on out there. And we spent a lot of time going around different poor areas and different community groups and things like that. And what we saw there was a fantastic achievement that community groups made. Largely, I have to say, boys, largely led by the women in Venezuela, but incredibly powerful groups and incredibly hard working. And they are the people that stand up and challenge the right-wing councils where they still have them and demand better services for their fellow workers. I'd like to see more of that happening here. And I am seeing it in local areas around the country. Another thing, I'm lucky enough, being on the executive of the union, I get to travel around all over the place and see what people are doing. And we do have some very good local community groups. There's a lot of trades councils out there, a lot of people working very hard with community groups, trades councils, to fight cuts at a local level, and meeting with success. In my own county of Kent, we've had considerable success in fighting back on cuts to children's services and services to the elderly. So it can be done. You know, if you do put the pressure on, they somehow seem to find ways of trying to accommodate us a little bit. But it's a long fight and it's not over yet. Now, I'm so proud to be a member of the RM2 because it's a fighting, campaigning industrial union. And next week, my union will be taking action across this city. And we will be doing our best to close down London Underground next week and the week after. And we're not doing this for real money. This isn't about more money. This isn't about improving our terms and conditions. It's about hanging on to them. It's about improving or keeping the services that we give to you. About disabled passengers who won't be able to access the underground, about people with young children having extreme difficulties, about even the foreign tourists that come here and don't know their way around. That's what we're fighting for, and of course at the bottom of the list we want to save 1,000 jobs on the underground, which are being cut simply for an ideology rather than any practical reason. And I'm so proud to be an active member of my local trades council. which is also a fighting, campaigning organisation. And today, I'm even more proud to be involved and a member of this trade union and socialist coalition movement. So thank you very much for inviting me here today, and I'm privileged to have been able to speak to you. Thank you very much.